"Daddy, please stop, it's paining me," her words raw and desperate, filled with a fear too heavy for a child so young. Jenny was a vibrant and cheerful 4-year-old girl who brought sunshine to everyone around her. Her laughter was contagious, her smile radiant, and her innocence pure. But her world began to crumble at the tender age of 5 when her father, the man she adored most, passed away unexpectedly. The loss shattered her, and the once lively Jenny became a little quieter, though she still clung to the love of her mother for solace. At 6, her mother remarried a man named Williams, a charming individual who seemed like a perfect stepfather. However, beneath his facade lay a monster. When Jenny turned 7, Williams began to have forceful intimacy with her, manipulating her innocence and threatened her to keep it a secret. Jenny, terrified and confused, felt trapped in a nightmare she couldn't escape. She would always scream, "Daddy, please stop, it's paining me," her words raw and desperate, filled with a fear too heavy for a child so young. But the man who should have protected her, the one she trusted above all, stood unmoved. His cold eyes met hers, and in that moment, her innocence slipped away, piece by agonizing piece. Her mother, a busy banker, often came home late, exhausted from work. Despite Jenny's attempts to confide in her, she was dismissed with instructions to "tell your stepfather anything you need." With no one to turn to, Jenny's once lively demeanor faded. She became withdrawn and subdued, her bright eyes dulled by pain. The abuse continued for years. By the time Jenny was 10, she no longer believed her body belonged to her. Her class teacher, Mr. Martins, noticed her quietness and fragility, but instead of helping her, he exploited her vulnerability. He, too, began to have carnal knowledge with her, further distorting her understanding of love and safety. To Jenny, this abuse became her grim normality, an unavoidable part of life. As time went on, Jenny's behavior began to change drastically. By the age of 11, she was initiating the intimate encounters with the family driver, begging him for attention she confused with affection. Her actions weren't born from desire but from years of manipulation and a twisted understanding of relationships. She spiraled further, losing control of her own life. At 13, now a student in JSS 2, Jenny's changes became more noticeable. Her subject teacher, Mrs. Ruth, observed the differences in her attitude and body and decided to raise the issue with Jenny's mother. But Jenny's mother, refusing to believe anything negative about her daughter, dismissed Mrs. Ruth's concerns with anger and denial. The situation reached a breaking point when Jenny fell gravely ill. A hospital visit revealed that she was 4 months pregnant. Her mother, devastated by the revelation, demanded that the pregnancy be removed. However, the doctor advised against it, explaining that it would be life-threatening due to Jenny's age and frail health. In anguish, her mother pressed her for answers, but Jenny couldn't name the father of her child. The list of abusers, her stepfather, her teacher, the driver, and others, left her too ashamed and broken to respond. When Jenny's mother finally learned about the years of abuse, she was consumed by guilt and rage. How had she failed to protect her daughter? Discovering that her husband had been molesting Jenny since she was 7 was the ultimate betrayal. Furious, she vowed to confront him, but by the time she returned home, he had fled. Jenny eventually gave birth to a baby boy who bore a striking resemblance to Williams, her stepfather. A blood test later confirmed the horrifying truth: both Jenny and the baby were HIV positive. This revelation broke Jenny completely. Overwhelmed by shame, despair, and the stigma she knew would follow, Jenny decided to end her life. She took her baby to a secluded area and, in a moment of unbearable pain, ended both their lives. The tragedy shook the community to its core. Jenny's mother, reeling from the loss of her daughter and grandson, channeled her grief into a search for Williams. When she finally found him, her anger overtook her. She shot him in broad daylight, unable to control the hatred boiling within her. Before she could turn the gun on herself, she was restrained by onlookers and handed over to the police. In court, Jenny's mother was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Those who visited her in jail described her as a shadow of her former self. She had attempted harm herself multiple times, consumed by regret and the weight of her actions. Months later, during routine maintenance at Jenny's family home, an old diary was discovered hidden in the attic. It was Jenny's. In it, she had documented her experiences, naming her abusers, including Mr. Martins and the family driver. This evidence not only corroborated her mother's claims but also sparked a community-wide investigation that led to the arrest of several predators who had been hiding in plain sight. Williams, who survived the shooting, was also found guilty of the offense and sentenced to life imprisonment. While Jenny's story ended in tragedy, her diary became a beacon of hope for other victims. NGOs and community leaders launched campaigns against child molestation, focusing on education, awareness, and creating safe spaces for children to speak out. Jenny's story, though heartbreaking, ignited change. This is not just a story. Sadly, many children, like Jenny, face abuse in their homes, schools, and communities. And it's not just girls, boys, too, are victims of molestation. As parents or guardians, it is your responsibility to pay attention to your children, to listen to them, and to create an environment where they feel safe sharing their experiences. Remember, no amount of money can replace your presence in their lives. They need your attention, your love, and your protection. If you or someone you know is facing abuse, please speak out and seek counseling. Silence only empowers the abuser. Help is available, and you are not alone. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss more life lesson stories like this one. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for your unwavering support. Your encouragement helps bring these stories to life and spread important messages. If you've watched this story to the very end, you're the real MVP. Thank you so much. I appreciate you more than words can express. See you in the next video. Bye bye.